The NBA offseason is the most exciting time of the year, especially when your team isn't in the playoffs anymore, but especially with the trades and all the different signings we get. And now it's basically underway officially. We haven't had a major trade. I mean, yesterday we had the small Denver Nuggets Charlotte Hornets trade. They traded JaMychal Green from Denver for a pick in return. Nothing too crazy there. Nothing that might shake up the league or have an impact at all. We don't know if it will, but I highly doubt it will. As we all know, though, the breaking news today, Christian Wood, center for the Houston Rockets, former Piston and Milwaukee Buck, is being traded to Dallas. In return, Dallas is giving up a first-round pick this year. I believe around the 26th, 27th pick is where it's at. Boban Marjanovic, Marquise Chris, and Trey Burke. So three guys that really weren't even cracking the rotation during the playoffs, much less during the regular season. So this trade is a win for both sides, and I think it's a great way to get off to this, or to start this offseason, because both teams get exactly what they need to do in this year, or in this offseason. And while Houston did not really get as much in return as what I expected them to for Christian Wood, they still got a decent trade, in my opinion, when you look at the future and when you look at what they got in return besides the players. Obviously, the three players Houston got in return, really, they don't have a spot in Houston for the future. Maybe this year, maybe the one contract year that they're all under, but long term, they don't have a lot of money on the books. They're not going to be keeping these guys on the roster unless one of them comes out and balls out like another MJ. I imagine next year, maybe even before the end of this offseason, these three guys are going to be off the team and somewhere else contributing to a contending team, considering they're all a little bit older and a little bit more of a veteran presence. I mean, there were rumors that the Warriors were interested in trading for Christian Wood, so obviously this was not the value they would have wished to get back for him. But at the end of the day, I think it was the first round pick that really brought it all together. They're probably going to be drafting Paolo Banchero or Chet Holmgren, considering Jabari Smith Jr. is projected to go first overall now. So they're likely going to have a center coming in. They already have Alperen Sengun. Want to give him as much time as possible. Usman Garuba is another big man that obviously they would like to play as much as possible when they have young guys like these two guys that can contribute. And then, like I said, bringing in another center or power forward, however you look at it, in the draft. They're going to have a lot of centers on the roster, a lot of big men, and they're not contending next year. So getting rid of Christian Wood, a guy who's 28, 29 on a fairly large contract in order to get a pick and create space for your young guys, is exactly what you need to do in that situation. And honestly, I think they were going to get rid of him no matter what. I am a little shocked he's going to Dallas, but if you're a Mavericks fan, this has to make you so happy in two different ways, because one, this shows that the Mavericks are committed to winning. Now, we've seen in the past few years the Mavericks have needed to make moves. A lot of people they've been in rumors. They were in rumors for Bradley Beal. They were in rumors for Zach LaVine a little bit in this offseason. Obviously, nothing's done yet, but we've seen it the last few years. They've been in rumors. They've just never pulled the trigger. They have Jalen Brunson. They've got Tim Hardaway Jr. They've got those role players. They brought in Spencer Dinwiddie, giving up Porzingis after that experiment did not work out. They've got the pieces to make a decent trade for a second star, and whether they want to do that or not, this first trade for Christian Wood shows that they're committed to making a team that's going to be better and a team that's going to win around Luka. Now, I think they can win and go to the finals, at least be a finals contending team, like a serious contending team with just Luka on the roster. He is that good of a player, and if they just get a bunch of really good role players like they've had, but maybe just a little bit more consistent, like bring back Jalen Brunson, give up or keep Tim Hardaway Jr., you brought in Christian Wood, a guy that's basically going to extend your center play like 10 levels higher, because Dwight Powell and Boban, who wasn't even on the court, is just not a good center group right there. Not a team, or not two centers you want playing for your team if you want to win a championship. So Christian Wood already, in my opinion, gives this team a much higher ceiling. He's going to allow them to be a little bit more flexible. He can shoot just a little bit, especially compared to the guys they already have on the roster, other than, Maxi Kleber and Davis Bertans. But Davis Bertans is likely going to be gone if they can move him. So I would look for the Mavericks to make another deal, whether that has to be a sign and trade with Jalen Brunson. I think they would like to keep him after the playoff run, but I don't know if Luka and Jalen can coexist. That's another issue they'll have to look at in the near future. At the end of the day, though, this trade is amazing for the Dallas Mavericks. The Rockets, it doesn't look as good on paper, but I think it'll work out for them in the future. I believe Alperen Sengun is going to be a good center, and if they bring in another center, they wouldn't have needed Christian Wood anyways, especially with the logjam they already have at those big man positions. So for the Rockets, I'm going to give this trade probably about a B to a B plus on this trade, because I think it can be a good trade. It depends on who they pick with that 26th, 27th overall pick. I'm not sure which one it is. But either way, they get younger. They get rid of a contract. They get a little bit more flexibility going into next year's offseason. Maybe even this offseason. I doubt they make a move, considering they're still in a rebuild mode. But maybe they do something with that extra money. Maybe we see them move John Wall as well. I'm interested to see what they decide with him, because you don't want to have him just sitting on the books at all. So that's $44 million right there. If they're able to move him, the Rockets are in a great position. But like I was saying, for the Mavericks, I'm going to give this an A to an A-. It's not a perfect trade. I think there were other targets you could have went after, but they would have had to give up a lot more in return. So giving up 3 guys that weren't even playing, a late first-round pick that likely would not end up to be a very good player. I mean, maybe it's a role player. It could be a good player. We never know. It just depends on who's there, who gets drafted with it, how they end up playing. You can't really see into the future with that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, great trade for the Mavericks. They get rid of those 3 guys. They get a guy that can come in and be a starting center right there beside Luka and provide them flexibility, better offense, better defense. Great trade overall for both teams. And how do you guys feel about this one? I believe that it was a good trade for both sides. Do you think either team kind of took a little bit too much on, or lost a little too much in these trades? Maybe you didn't like the Mavericks throwing in that first-round pick. How do you guys feel about this? If you did like this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time.